Okay, well, had a pretty good work session on this truck today, and kind of made some progress and kind of didn't. Went through and started checking plugs and trying to isolate that dead cylinder, and this one on the back right back here, that's number, what is that, 8. Had a non-fouler in it, and that's not ever a good sign. You know, non-fouler, I think it's over here actually, I'll show it to you. But that's something else I'll show you too while we're out here talking about it. But this is a non-fouler, and what this does is, you see it's got threads on the inside of it and threads on the outside. This part screws into the cylinder head, and then the spark plug, you screw it into this, and it's the idea behind this is if you have a engine that's pumping oil through a cylinder for whatever reason and you just want to keep on driving it, you put one of these in and it keeps the plug from fouling out so soon, because it kind of gets it out of so much of the oil, I guess. But that plug, as it turned out, didn't look any worse than any of the others except for one. I'll show you that one. But that didn't make any difference, so I went looking again, and it seemed like when I was back there listening to the exhaust, it was really ragging on this side, and I was like, oh no, deja vu again, another Chevy with a problem. Yeah, so, but I came up here, and after I ran it for about a minute, shut it off, I grabbed this manifold lightly, just very quickly, and the front of the log there and the back were hot like they should have been, and the center was kind of wasn't too sure about the center, so I pulled I guess that's number 3, the second one back, pulled it out, and it was okay. It was just kind of carbony because of that carburetor, the choke being on all the time, I guess. And so that was okay. So I went ahead and did a compression test also. I forgot to tell you, on that cylinder over there, the one with the non-fouler, and this one, number 3, and they're both in about the 130 range, which is probably about okay for a low compression engine. But they're consistent, that's what's good. So I put those all back in and back together, and I went back to the 5. I was at 5, number 5 back here, the third one back, and this is the one out of number 5. And as you can see, it's pretty, if I hold it up in front of the camera you can really see it, but it's pretty nasty and goopy, and I can just tell by looking at it, it was not firing whatsoever. So I keep hearing them cough over there. I wonder if they're listening to me, probably. So anyway, it's got Bosch plugs in it too. Hack it up, Mr. Cobalt. So anyway, I thought, oh boy, I don't ever like seeing that. So I got my spark tester, and I put on that spark plug wire, and it was sparking. It's doing its thing. So it's not in the ignition system, at least up to that far. So I ran a compression test on that cylinder, and it's right the same as the other. So that's a good thing in a way that does not have a hole in the piston, and maybe not have a cracked head or a cracked head gasket or a burnt valve. So mechanically, hopefully it's okay. And I'll tell you what happened was, I got confused out here, and I'm not sure if there was a plug wire off already, or I pulled it off by accident, but somehow or another I had 2 plug wires off. 1 and 3 were off up here. I remember taking 3 off. I don't remember taking 1 off. So anyway, I got it all back together, and this poor old thing was hacked together so bad I had to run a new PCV hose and just the whole 9 yards. But one of the things I did, you see that temporary red wire going across there, not that one, but it comes over here. That's to operate the electric choke. I tapped that into the fuse box. Well, what turned out is, after I got it running off the choke starting to open up. It quit running, and it will not idle. So now, unless I just want to leave the choke on all the time, I can't really test to see if it's run on all 8 cylinders. It's sounding a little better, so I believe what I'm going to do. That carburetor is pretty new, or at least I mean it's recent. It's not. I don't know how new it is, but that's a kind of a. It's a, what is that? It's a 600 vacuum secondary, and like I said, that's a very off-the-shelf carburetor. It's one of those you go to AutoZone and you can buy, and just slap it on here, and that's what they did. And I'm not crazy about Hollies. I don't have anything against them. I just don't care for them that much. And this one thing I absolutely don't like is it doesn't have enough vacuum ports on it to run everything this truck has. So it only has 1 3/8 port back there, so I had to temporarily disable the power brakes to even use that. So upshot is that thing's coming off. It's going away. And you know what I'm going to build for this, don't you? That's right. You know what I'm going to build for it. I'm going to go into my stash of Quadrajets, and I'm going to pick out one to have a second life right here on this mighty 350 small block. So that catches us up till the present moment. And what I'm doing, you notice the alternator's off here. I thought, well, I'm stopped on this for a little bit, so I'll start looking at some of those other little things I see. And started investigating what's going on with this alternator. And one thing is, I'm not convinced this is the right alternator for this truck. It looks like it might be for something slightly different. It appears to be a 12 SI alternator, which has got this plastic fan on it. And that truck would have had a 10 SI. That's the lower output, older alternator. And I wouldn't mind using this, but I'm trying to figure out what's going on with it. One thing happened at first was this bracket down here, and you guys that have a 350 Chevy, but feel free to chime in. But that thing was bolted to the alternator right there with that big long bolt, and those two, it was just hanging down. It was tight, but it was hanging down. It's supposed to be, you know, like you see it there. I've done that. I've put it back in the water pump and bolted it up. And it has a bracket on the back of it. Well, let me try to say this the right way. It has this big bracket here, and it's got a nut or a bolt or whatever this is on the back. I guess that's a bolt. Oops, let me back out a little. And that was not even tight. It was out like this, about like that, just totally hacked together, you know, just get it on there. But the thing I don't like about this, you see how this bolt in here is kind of loosey-goosey. That notwithstanding, let me tighten that up. But this bolt is smaller than the hole it's in. That's what she said. But anyway, I don't know if that means anything or not. I don't know if I even need to worry about that. But what I think is going on, it's dangerous for me to think, but when I sight down this bracket right here, when I look at the pulleys and I look at the bracket, you know, that side of it right there where the top bolt of the alternator goes in, it sure looks to me like this alternator bracket is off. It's back like this. So I don't remember much about small block Chevy. It's been years and years and years since I've had one. Coughing again over there. Cut out the cigarettes. It's been years and years since I've had one of these, longer than a couple months. So I don't remember. So again, somebody can tell me if this looks right or not. If you have one, I'm sure plenty of you guys out there have one. And what I'm doing now is I'm trying to get rid of these wires, some that don't go to nothing no more. See, this one is bolted to the firewall, and this was under the negative cable. Well, I guess the reason they did that is because they couldn't find the remainder, or burned off the remainder of the one that goes to the negative. See, that's the way Chevys do this. They actually, yeah, that thing looks hot. Look at that. It's all melted. And that's the negative. But, see, Chevys, I remember that now. This cable has no other wire coming off of it like this one does. And not trying to confuse you. You guys that have these already, you already know about this, but they, oops, don't want to do that. Don't want to do that either. Not out there, but the way Chevy does this on many of their older vehicles is you have a ground cable like that, which goes to the engine, but you also need a ground cable to the frame of the vehicle. So that's what this is, and it seems like it'd be a little undersized, but so I guess I don't know what they did with that. Tore it up. They towed it up. But, so that's what I'm kind of working through. I'm just piddling around a little bit because they're supposed to have some kind of bad weather this weekend, so I might be kind of not doing much on this anyway. But there'll be more to come on this. And I am not going to make a mistake I made on that heavy Chevy and tear anything apart before I have the money or the time. I'm not doing that. I may just, if it runs on 7 cylinders, that's all it's going to run on, I may just drive it like that. Heck with it. For a little while at least. But I'm confident that I can get it running good without tearing into it. If I get my other carb on it and get it running on its own pretty good, and I just cannot get it to run on 8 cylinders, what I'll do is I'll pull that valve cover off and see if I've got a rocker arm that's laid off for some reason. And that's got to go away. This homemade fuel line has got to go away. See how far up it comes at. Somebody made that. They didn't even bend it with a bender. They just bent it. That's why it's got kinks in it. Oh, joy. So, anyway, guys. Oh, that's what that's for. I was wondering what this wire was going along right here. You see it trailing around over there and over there. That goes, oh yeah, I washed the engine off a little bit too, if you notice that. But that goes to this mystery electric item over there, which I'm going to remove because I don't want it. I don't like mystery electrical items. Oh, by the way, let me give you a little note on something. Oh, there's a mystery piece of wire up there. See that? Let me give you a little tip on something. You see that thing over there that's on the power brake booster? That's actually a two-way. It's a one-way valve. Supposed to be, it's a backfire suppressor. So if, you know, one way it sucks through easily, like into the intake for the power brakes. But if the engine backfires, you know, it's obviously it's going to push a bunch of pressure back there, and it tries to keep you from blowing your power brake booster out. So you always need to run that thing, and if you wonder which way it goes, you can, you know, clean it off. But put up, you blow in it one way, and it's hard to blow through it, and you suck it from the other way. That ain't making any sense. You suck on it one way, it sucks in through there, sucks air through very easily. You suck on it the other way, it doesn't do very easily. Shut up. Don't say anything. You know what I mean. Just figure it out. I'm tired of talking about that thing. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but that's how it works. So, okay. Well, get you guys up here. Ooh, 14 minutes. Ooh. Some people can't sit still that long. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up and go in and get a shower and do some video work. Thanks so much for watching. See you around.